Tonight, fire bans declared as authorities prepare for scorching temperatures over the weekend, and listeria warnings issued for hams across South Australia.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Ruby Kamain begins now.
Good evening. A small grass fire ignited on the outskirts of Port Lincoln today, with passing motorists quickly extinguishing the blaze before it could spread to nearby paddocks. It comes as the Country Fire Service issues a warning to brace for more hot weather over the coming days.
Fire quickly spreading in grassland as passers-by try to douse the flames with buckets of water.
Yeah, a little bit nervous. The wind was going towards the road, so if it was going towards the paddock, it would have been a little bit more concerning.
The fire breaking out just after 10:30 this morning on the outskirts of Port Lincoln, witnesses raising the alarm.
It was probably only about 2 metres, maybe 3 metres, and by the time I called it in, it was probably about 10, so it was moving.
It comes as the Country Fire Service issues a warning, with hot, dusty and windy weather expected to ramp up over the coming days.
The mix of those three, it gives us bad fire weather. So we're on alert here today. We've got a 24-hour roster in place in the Regional Command Centre.
In a preemptive measure, total fire bans were declared for the West and Eastern Eyre Peninsula, the Mid-North and Yorke Peninsula.
If you're not in a area that's been declared a fire ban, don't get complacent.
It's heating up again tomorrow, with Whyalla set to nudge 32 degrees, while Port Augusta is expected to reach a stifling 44 degrees on Sunday.
We do have a trough of low pressure moving in from the west, and ahead of that, the northerly winds will be picking up.
There's cooler weather on the horizon though, with some showers expected for Whyalla next week.
Cloudy air conditions coming in and milder temperatures sort of on their way as we move into the early to middle part of next week.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Meanwhile, extra support has finally arrived for fire crews across New South Wales following one of the worst bushfire seasons in the state's history. Brigades in the far west set to share $51 million raised by the community.
Rural fire brigades across the state will each receive $10,000 to purchase new equipment specific to their needs. More than $51 million donated by the community in a fundraiser led by Celeste Barber is now being distributed to those who helped protect life and land while bushfires raged across the country this time last year.
The communities, even across the far west, the communities got behind brigades even if they may or may not have responded.
Silverton RFS is expected to use its share to purchase new tools for highway incidents and road crash rescues, while down the road the Menindee Brigade will purchase lighting and equipment for their newly extended building. New, big, expensive vehicles also on the agenda.
RFS have put that into some trucks, some additional tankers, so the replacement program for the RFS has been improved.
And as brave volunteers run towards danger, they'll soon have extra PPE to keep them safe.
Potentially could be 70,000 helmets. We've got 70,000 volunteers. So therefore, that's where that money has also gone.
During last year's Black Summer bushfires, 11 Silverton RFS volunteers gave up their time and headed to the fire front, the single biggest group in the far west.
Some COVID-19 restrictions are set to ease from midnight tonight on home gatherings across South Australia. House parties and private gatherings will increase from a maximum of 50 people to 200. However, those hosting more than 50 people will require a COVID-safe plan, a COVID marshal or a QR code scanning system in place. There has been an urgent recall for O'Brien's leg ham after listeria was detected during routine testing. SA Health is warning against consumption, with pregnant women, the elderly and those with a weak immune system most at risk. The affected product has been sold at various Foodland, IGA and other independent butchers since December, with use-by dates for March and April. Yorke Mid-North Police have been kept busy with a handful of motorists caught drink and drug driving in the past week. It includes 4 drug drivers, among them a 49-year-old Kadina man who was caught allegedly hooning and returned a positive drug test.
There's been multiple detections for both drug and drink driving, and most recently there was one yesterday in the middle of the day. A driver blew .085.
Police also warning roadside presence will increase over the next week. Still to come tonight, residents urged to be careful around water for dangerous mosquitoes. And a group held for the first time this year for LGBTQIA+ youths in Port Augusta. Welcome back. 2 deadly mosquito viruses discovered in the Riverland have prompted fresh calls for holidaymakers to be extra vigilant. With no cure for the disease, the best advice is to cover up.
It's a concerning surge that has authorities on edge.
So it's really important that people look after themselves and protect themselves.
South Australia's wetter than average summer seeing a mosquito boom, with some carrying a potentially deadly disease.
Keep themselves covered, keep themselves protected, and make sure if they are in areas of mosquito activity, they use a high quality repellent. 2 viruses, Murray Valley encephalitis and Kungin virus, have been detected near the Murray River within chickens. Authorities say a potential onslaught from mozzies could see the virus transmitted to humans across the state. Where you've got standing water and where you've got breeding conditions, you'll find mosquitoes.
The virus can cause tremors, seizures, drowsiness and even worse, death. There's no vaccine, so the best advice is to cover up.
The best way to protect yourself is to limit the amount of exposed skin you've got, but where you have exposed skin, and in summer that's often, a fair bit of your body, you need to use a really good quality repellent.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The member for Frome was recently rushed to Port Pirie Hospital after suffering a minor stroke. Despite the health scare, Jeff Brock says he's determined to continue his political career.
Fighting fit after a health scare, it's hard to believe Jeff Brock was rushed to hospital just a few weeks ago.
I'm very, very lucky. I had the impact, had no symptoms beforehand, no warning whatsoever. It just came upon me, and just as well my partner was able to be there whilst it happened, and she called the ambulance straight away.
Now on a speedy recovery, he says he appreciates frontline workers more than ever.
If those services weren't available to this community and to other communities across regional South Australia, then that timing of getting that attention may have been the difference between myself recovering straight away or having an impact, everlasting impact.
Also thankful for the support from the community despite some rumours circulating.
One of the rumours going around was that I'd had been evacuated to the Royal Adelaide Hospital. I'd had open heart surgery. I'm in a critical condition.
Now redirecting his attention, he says he'll continue to run next year.
I've got a lot of passion, I've got a lot of energy still with me, and I'm going to give another shot and look at the opportunity to not only represent Port Pirie but also Port Augusta and the Outback.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Preparations are well underway at Headspace Port Augusta, with the organisation set to host its first PRISM group for the year. Aiming to provide a safe space for the young LGBTQIA+ community, the organisation is encouraging more people to get on board.
PRISM is back and ready to take on a new year.
PRISM's our LGBTIQ and rainbow community group for young people aged between 16 and 25.
The local group, run by Headspace Port Augusta, is aiming to provide a safe space for young people who identify or are questioning their place in the rainbow community.
To come and meet and I guess feel safe to be who they are and express who they want to be in an environment where people understand that and there's no judgment.
The group comes in, they steer it themselves and they connect, and it also gives us an insight at Headspace on how we can better support young people in the community.
While the group provides a social space, it has also been involved in major events in the city, such as Lions Pride, with some big plans in the works for this year.
Hopefully for 2021 we're able to make an event that's just as big and as exciting. There are some other projects that are happening in the background that PRISM has been initiating.
The group will be held on January 28 from 5 to 7 p.m. at Headspace Port Augusta.
Think you might be interested, just come along and meet us, and then you don't have to come every fortnight, you can come once or twice, but yeah, we just want to welcome as many new members this year.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Grass slashing has begun along Menindee Road after locals raised concerns saying increased vegetation was making it difficult to spot wildlife. Roadside grass also proving hazardous during the warmer weather, with fire crews battling a blaze 30 kilometres south of Broken Hill last week. The Barrier Highway to Coburn and Silver City Highway to Wentworth have also been prioritised for a trim. Stay with us after the break. This year's Australia Day celebrations set to look a little different in Whyalla, and the last week of school holidays marked with a family fun day. Hello again. Whyalla's Australia Day preparations are well underway, with this year's celebrations taking place at the local recreational centre for the very first time. Council says it's trying something new as South Australia continues to follow strict COVID-19 restrictions.
Mapping out the start and finish line for this year's fun run. Councillor Phil Stone gearing up for one of Whyalla's biggest annual events.
It's been going for years, and this year's for the very first time out on the jetty. They'll be doing the loop. That in itself is attracting more competitors from outside Whyalla.
This year's official award ceremony set for Whyalla's Ada Ryan Gardens kicking off Tuesday morning.
All the awards for some of our magnificent volunteers out there will be recognised.
Free lamingtons and a sausage sizzle will also be available, with the celebrations continuing at the local recreational centre.
It's going to be really good, I think. It's good to do something a bit different, and we're obviously really excited to be able to jump on board as part of the Australia Day celebrations for the community.
Council saying South Australia's COVID-19 restrictions played a large part in this year's decision to change the venue.
This is an ideal time to try something different.
The centre also running aqua aerobic classes on Tuesday morning for members of the public to enjoy a swim.
We've got 2 of those, one at 10, one at 11. Then the main event will start at 12 o'clock and run through till 5 p.m.
The centre's facilities as well as gym classes will also be available to locals throughout the day, with food vans and stalls scheduled to be set up outside.
Obviously have the QR codes at entry, and then they're scattered throughout the centre as well, so we're asking everybody to do the right thing and scan in through the QR code.
Sophia Contigonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The future of Broken Hill's only local newspaper looks to be secure. Despite ongoing financial challenges, managers at the Barrier Daily Truth say the paper will be in a strong position even after JobKeeper ends.
The Barrier Daily Truth has been part of the Broken Hill community for more than a century, but it all came to a sudden halt when the pandemic hit.
There has been a bit of uncertainty, probably even just up until Christmas time.
After running a publishing business for 16 years, Dina Janes was brought in as a consultant to make the paper financially secure. The BDT will continue to be printed twice a week, and while it's unlikely a daily edition will return, there is potential for growth.
If we go to 3, that could be a consideration, but with three editions comes extra costs and more staffing.
Despite staff numbers halving, management are adamant entitlements will be paid. The paper now looking to increase its editorial staff.
We will expand in a journalism area, so we're looking for a range of people, and we'll decide once we see the applications who we'll bring on.
Local newsagents saying they're glad to see the BDT continue.
Badly needed in town for the local people. Have local news. It'd be nice to get a lot more local news in there.
And for now at least, it will still be printed in Broken Hill. Printing going to Mildura, yes or no?
Well, it's cheaper than, say, going to Melbourne or Sydney and Adelaide, but look, it is a potential. We have to cover all bases and have backup strategies.
Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
With the school holidays soon coming to an end, a local youth centre has hosted a family event for all to enjoy. The fun-filled day packed with activities, inflatables and even a mechanical bull ride.
School holidays doesn't get much better than this. The Port Augusta Youth Centre hosting its Family Fun Day before kids return to the classroom for another year.
We have various rides and things for the kids to have some fun before they venture back to school.
From a dunk tank to inflatable water slides and a mechanical bull. Even the hot weather couldn't stop the kids from enjoying themselves.
I'm having fun with water and doing that tank behind us.
The dumping thing.
I just like riding the cow. It was so funny. I just came here just to play with my friends and have fun.
Organisers say the day aims to provide a safe environment for young people, all while having fun together.
It keeps kids off the streets, gives them something to do. It's a place that they can come where they feel safe
Staff are always here to talk to if they need to.
Residents are encouraged to keep their eyes peeled for the next activity hosted at the youth centre.
The purpose of these days during the school holidays is to bring families together, and it gives the families an opportunity to meet the staff and to see what we do at the centre.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll hear all the latest tips from our fishing experts, and Alex will join us with weather. Welcome back. Let's take a look at what's biting around the Gulf. Here's our experts with their fishing tips.
Welcome to another week around the Gulf fishing tips from Port Pirie. One of the things that I have to tell you very, very quickly, we've got blue swimmer crabs coming out of our ear rolls at the moment, but I tell you that Third Creek Patches is the best place for them. Cocklespit top end is also working very, very well. Talawi Beach, you can get a few crabs there just as long as it's north of the boat ramp area, and some of the little holes just out in front of the channel you should be able to find yourself some King George still floating around, but also some blue swimmer crabs. That's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
Hi, Whalers fishing tips this week. Great weather this weekend, so get amongst it. Local crabs are running good off the Whyalla jetty, also some silver whiting off the foreshore. For out on the boaties, crabs are running just about everywhere. If you head out a little bit deeper, there has been some nice snook coming from around the fairway banks.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, the crabs really haven't turned it on at all at the moment. Really small and not many of them. Although with a bit of this hot weather, hopefully they'll start coming on the bite and start getting in the nets. There's some gummy sharks getting caught out in the seabird as well, and the odd couple of mulloway. There have been some snapper getting caught there and released, so make sure you do that because you're not allowed to catch them at the moment. Kingfish around the old powerhouse site, around in Port Patterson, and lots of salmon in that same area as well. And there has been the odd snook down around the old Letty Spit stick area as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Locally in the bay here in Port Lincoln, there's been quite a few little kingfish cruising around. The blue crabs are finally starting to improve down in the proper bay. Over at Coffins, there's been some good reports of Samson fish out on the wide lumps, especially towards Rocky Island. The whiting have been a little bit sporadic in close, but there have been some fish caught, along with some garfish and a few gummy sharks. There's been a few salmon caught down on Almonte Beach, and there have also been some nice yellowfin whiting caught on the beaches up around Tumby Bay. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again with more tips next week.
Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex.
Thanks, Ruby. As Nathan reported earlier, hot, dusty and windy weather is expected to ramp up over the coming days. I'll have more on that later. From 3 p.m. today, it was very hot and windy in Port Augusta, top of 41. Port Lincoln, sunny and 30, and sunny and 34 in Clare. Becoming windy and sunny in Whyalla, reaching 33, sunny in Broken Hill and 35. Very hot and sunny in Port Pirie, 38 degrees. Woodner and Cooper Pedy both reached 39, 34 in Kadina and Cleve, and it was sunny and 28 degrees in Adelaide. From today's satellite images, we can see that cloud is crossing the far southwest with a weak trough, not rain bearing. Skies are largely clear elsewhere under high pressure and a dry and increasingly hot air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Southeast to southwesterly winds 10 to 15 knots, increasing to 15 to 20 knots from mid-afternoon. Seas around 1 metre, increasing to 2 metres late afternoon, and swells south to southwesterly also around 1 metre. Heating up tomorrow, Port Lincoln 28, Cleve 32, Woodner very hot and sunny and 39 degrees. Whyalla becoming windy and sunny 32, Port Augusta sunny and 37, Kadina 33, Port Pirie set to reach 36, Clare sunny and 35, and hot and sunny in Broken Hill 38 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, and heat wave-like conditions on Saturday with temperatures mainly in the 40s on Saturday. Cooper Pedy and Woodner 43, 40 in Kadina, Broken Hill and Whyalla, 42 in Port Pirie. Port Augusta is set to reach 44. And as reported earlier in our bulletin, conditions are really set to peak on Sunday. 45 in Whyalla and Port Augusta, 44 in Port Pirie, 43 in Broken Hill and Woodner. And conditions easing on Monday with some showers to bring some much needed relief. Rain in Woodner, Whyalla, Kadina, Port Lincoln and Adelaide, mainly fine, and 38 in Port Augusta, windy and 42 in Broken Hill. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you, Ruby.
Lovely, thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.